On to Texas Tech. Before we even jump into the main idea on this, how shocked were you with the way that game went down against BYU?
First and foremost, I was shocked that Joey McGuire called out Notre Dame here. So I do want to I want to emphasize that as we get into this whole spiel about Notre Dame, I was really surprised at the podium that now Big 12 coaches are firing at Marcus Freeman and company. But I if you told me Texas Tech kicked 5 field goals, I would believe that because BYU's defense is that good. Tech has struggled in the red zone, and BYU's red zone defense is very strong as well. I watched them live against a Utah team that I think is still very good, and the linebacker core of BYU is elite. That said, if you told me BYU would score 7 points total, man, I know that Tech defense is good, but they allowed 20 plus against Arizona State. They allowed 20 against Kansas State. BYU only scoring 7. That's what shocked me the most. This game very well could have gotten even more out of hand, but at the same time, if BYU utilizes a couple possessions, doesn't turn the ball over, this could have been a 24-17 game. I mean, just as much as it could have been a bigger blowout, BYU squandered opportunities with terrible turnovers, bad special teams play. This is just a sloppy BYU game. I don't know if it was out of character for them or indicative of what they'll do the rest of the season, but I was very shocked BYU didn't have at least a little better day offensively.
On the Notre Dame comments specifically, listen, there's a lot of talk about Notre Dame and where they deserve to be ranked, how much credit you should get for, good losses.
Yeah.
Their only good win being that USC game, which I don't think is an elite win, but yeah, it's a good win. It's a ranked team. I'll give it to you. USC's got a lot of talent. To only have one good win and kind of get the recognition that they've gotten mostly due to their brand and having a couple of good losses is interesting. McGuire not loving it, not loving the Notre Dame love when he was going on his rant.
No, so he actually utilized BYU here. He said, I have a lot of respect for BYU entering a conference. This is from the Irish Network. Funny that they would post this. I have a lot of respect for BYU entering a conference and not playing an independent schedule like other people. Y'all already know who that is. He takes a shot at Notre Dame for the schedule they're playing. And honestly, if you look at the way the college football playoff has valued Notre Dame, their best win is a loss. Their second best win, TJ, is another loss. They're getting respect right now because of the games they lost, because they looked good doing it. It's wild to me the committee is taking a 2-loss Notre Dame team and said, we respect you because of the games that you did not win early in the year. And what's even wilder is for them to say, oh, well, when you beat Miami, it was a different Miami team. You didn't know that that was different. That was a different Notre Dame team. It was different. So we have this thing where in September the games don't really count. The losses don't go, oh, well, they grew up and they got better. And but to me, at some level, that's still Miami. It's still Texas A&M. Like, they didn't get any worse. Maybe they got better. You cannot tell me that this game in September has to be thrown out the window altogether because it was a different team. Yeah. No, that's not how we do this.
Why play the games?
Right.
Why did Miami risk losing? Miami's getting less credit for winning that game than Notre Dame is for losing it.
Right.
Like, that's crazy to me. And I don't like Miami. Like, this isn't like I don't like the ACC. I don't like Miami. I'm just kind of objectively speaking, like, why even play that game?
Or really,
why even do that?
Or if you're BYU or Texas Tech or Cincinnati, go lose your first 2 games. I don't know. Go play Ohio State and play Alabama. Right?
It doesn't work that way.
Not for them, does it? Right?
It doesn't work that way for the Big 12 or the ACC. You're in the SEC. You can lose to a piss poor Florida State team in week 1, and it just doesn't matter.
Everyone
You're
forgets.
a different team now.
Yep.
And I understand. I'm not saying that games on Labor Day weekend should mean the same as games on Thanksgiving weekend. I think there is some merit to how a team is playing now. There's no doubt that you want teams that are playing better at the end of the year compared to the beginning of the year. But the way that we just completely erase week 1 results is something that drives me nuts in this sport. The way that we look at games in September and say they just don't matter is asinine. I will get right back to the video, but first, let me give some love to our friends over at Sleeper. We've told you all season, you need to be on the Sleeper app, whether you're checking scores, whether you're playing the more or less game to make some money with us on the Power 2 on Wednesdays. Get over to the Sleeper app right now. Use our code CFA for a 100% match up to $100. Terms and conditions apply, so check their terms of use for more details. The Sleeper app is where you need to be as this college football season wraps up, and the Power 2 is where you need to be so that you make some money with us on Wednesdays live at noon. And so, you say Cincinnati and BYU and Texas Tech go play a big out-of-conference game. They ain't going to give y'all that same love. You ain't getting that same respect because when they get to the end of the year for y'all, for the Big 12 or the ACC, they're going to get to the end of the year and say, yeah, but they can't compete against the big boys. Yeah, maybe they went on a run in the Big 12. Maybe they beat up on the Sisters of the Blind, but they can't do it when it comes to playing against the big teams. Whereas teams in the SEC or your big brands in the Big 10 or a Notre Dame who has a SEC type cachet, like brand, SEC's or Notre Dame's got the biggest brand in the sport. Like they have the SEC type brand, even though they're independent. That works for them. You're allowed to lose early if you're a big brand in a big conference or, again, Notre Dame. It don't work like that for the FSUs of the world and the Clemsons of the world and the Big 12 teams of the world. Or the Miamis of the world. You don't get that same leeway. I mean, Miami lost to a team that was ranked higher than Miami, right? Like Louisville was ranked higher than Miami before Louisville lost this week. And we'll see what the playoff committee does with their rankings tonight. But Miami had a better loss than Notre Dame did because Miami lost to the number 14 team and Notre Dame lost to the number 18 team in Miami. No credit. You don't get that same kind of leeway when you're in the ACC or the Big 12.
No, and that's where I look at Notre Dame's schedule, and this is the point Joey McGuire's making is it's not even about for him losing games and getting credit for it like Notre Dame has done. They lost to the number 16 team, Texas A&M, not the number 4 A&M. Miami was a different team then, but A&M wasn't a different team. They've always been top 5 when Notre Dame loses to them, and then they got to play Purdue. They actually got to play the worst team out of the Big 10, Purdue, winless, the worst team out of the SEC, Arkansas, winless, and the worst team out of the ACC, Boston College, winless. They somehow built a schedule to play all of the worst teams imaginable out of the power conferences. It's nuts to me that Notre Dame gets to pick and choose whoever they want to play and get total amnesty, credit, whatever you want, whatever word you want to use. It's just, hey, yeah, we don't care that you don't play really anybody the rest of this way. You play a Pitt team that lost to West Virginia, and the Pitt coach came to the podium this week and said, full transparency, we don't want to win this game. Please don't bet on us. We want to lose this game. We are warning you. And that's the schedule, the Mickey Mouse schedule Notre Dame gets. They get to, TJ, Alabama, credit to them. They don't get to pick their schedule in SEC play. You got to play whoever's in front of you. Credit to Boston College. You got to play whoever's given to you by the commissioner. Credit to Cincinnati and UCF, whoever you have on your schedule, and maybe you have to play in a given year. If you're Oklahoma State, you got to play a really tough Texas Tech, BYU, and Cincinnati, and Utah in 4 consecutive weeks. If you're Notre Dame, you can go, I don't know. This week, why don't we play Syracuse? Next week, let's play the Citadel. By the way, I think the Citadel losing to Mississippi State, they should have jumped like 10 spots, 15 spots. We should let the Citadel in the top 25 because they have a quality loss to Ole Miss. That's what the Notre Dame schedule feels like. They can schedule anyone and everyone, and you can make the case like, oh, well, these games are scheduled 5-6 years in advance. Now that's getting shorter and shorter. People are scheduling these games a couple of years in advance because of the way that conference realignment has thrown us for a loop. But, I mean, outside of USC, when Notre Dame scheduled these games, TJ, let's play a game. Was Miami good 5 years ago?
No.
Was A&M good 5 years ago?
No.
Let's play this game. Purdue, Arkansas.
That was the 1 year that Jimbo actually did get a lot of wins. So 6 years. Say Miami 6 years ago.
Yeah, right.
I was thinking of the year. I was like, actually, they were kind of good that year. But yeah, I get the point.
Purdue, Arkansas, NC State, USC, Boston College, Navy, Pitt, Syracuse State. None of those teams were good when Notre Dame scheduled these. They said, you know how we can concoct this? Let's schedule all of the worst possible teams in each of these power conferences. Hope they're still bad. And guess what? They are still bad, aside from Miami and Texas A&M, which became a very tough way to start your schedule. But they just got to hang around, man. They just got to, as long as you lose those first two, but you win the rest of these against pretty much nobody, you're going to be okay. The home game against USC is the worst you've got it. You're going to be A-okay. We'll let you in. And so, Notre Dame's been dominant, but gosh, man, they don't have the makeup of a national championship team. They remind me of those Notre Dame teams that the BCS would let in our bowl game or to the national championship, and they get steamrolled by somebody because they just don't play. And Joey McGuire, head coach from the Big 12, came to the podium and said they just don't play anybody. It's a coward's way out. And obviously, Jeremiah Love, very good football player, first-round draft pick. I think he's awesome to watch, but awesome to watch against the Sisters of the Blind. Like, we're not watching them play legitimate competition. And I think this is a Notre Dame team that is setting itself up. Here's what's going to happen. I'll end it with this. What's going to happen, I've talked to college football coaches who said the same thing. If you play a group of 5 schedule over the course of your year, the second you go toe-to-toe with the SEC team, the second you get to the college football playoff and play the big dogs, you're done. You're done. No. That's this year's Notre Dame team. They're going to go to the playoff. When they get there, the first time they sniff competition for the first time in months, they're done.
Joey McGuire and Drake C. Toll both hating on Notre Dame here today. So that wasn't from me. That wasn't from the FSU guy. That was from Drake and Joey. So shout out to them. Sounds like a Nickelodeon show, Drake and Joey.
Yep.
Drake, where can people follow you? Where can they find your content?
At LO Big 12 on Twitter and wherever you find your podcast with Locked On Big 12 as well as YouTube.
Appreciate you, man.
Always fun, TJ.